Hey guys, Kimani here, the voice behind holding this together and Golden Whisk. So today's video, I'll be showing you guys how I made these beautiful sugar cookies that are Mickey Mouse themed. I'll be showing you guys 3 different ways to achieve this look. 1, without any cutters at all. 2, with specialty cutters. And 3, with the simplest of cutters, so that you can make a more complex design. So if this is something that you're interested in seeing or following or trying, then please keep on watching. Okay loves, first thing, don't mind my voice, I have a little bit of a flu, but that's okay. So I'm starting off with my cinnamon roll sugar cookies, well, cookie dough, and the first set of cookies that I'm going to do is the ones without the cutters. So here I have my Minnie Mouse bow that I just cut out of some parchment paper. You can use grease paper or normal printer paper if you want. Just placing it on my dough and I'm cutting it out. So that's the first thing. Whatever shape you want to get that is, you know, a little bit different, you can just trace it, cut it out, and use it as your template. Then now I'm using my specialty cutters, which aren't really special, but you know, it has a specific shape that I don't have to cut out by hand, and that would be the second method that we'll be doing today. Now this is another one that I'm using multiple cutters to make, like, you know, a more complex design. So here I'm using a big circle cutter to make Minnie's face or head or whatever you want to call it. I have my cookie tray over here, and I'm using some smaller ones to make his ears. So I'm cutting out a space from the bigger cookie shape that would be, you know, his head, and I'm just putting the smaller pieces in place, and then I'm putting it kind of like using my finger to like press it together, so when it bakes it doesn't like fall apart and the ears break off, like, you know, you have one whole shape. I don't know how else to explain it, but I think that you know, you can see what I'm doing and it makes sense. This way it doesn't seem like 2 circles attached to one big circle, it seems like it's one whole shape. So I'm just going through finishing up my cookies, and then I'm gonna put it in the fridge for it to set up. This is what it looks like before I put it in the oven. You know, always put your cookie dough in the fridge or in the freezer for like 5 minutes before you bake it to, you know, prevent too much spreading. Now here I have my royal icing that I just mixed into all the colors that I wanted to use. I'm starting off with my bows and I'm doing my outline. Now for this I didn't do a piping consistency and a flood consistency. I just did one frosting that was like thick enough to do my piping, but like thin enough to flood. And yeah, so that's it. I did my piping first, my borders, and then I filled it, and then I just give it a little, you know, like a shake, or I used my little tool that I can't remember the name for right now, and you can also use a toothpick, and I just kind of like blend it together. And then I did the polka dot thing. Like when you add like a different color in between, like the same time before it dries, like it seems like one whole shape instead of having the polka dot like on top of the base color. That makes sense? I know it does. So now I'm just filling out my frame shapes and putting those. Actually, I'm putting all of these cookies in my dehydrator so that it dries faster instead of me waiting overnight and all these things. Now this is another design, like when I'm doing letters or numbers or whatever, I don't have a cookie projector, so I just write it on or draw it on or trace it on using my edible markers, and then, you know, we go from there. I accidentally dropped that one, so I was just fixing the part that was dented because it wasn't like fully dried as yet. The thing with this edible marker thing, making a template, like if you mess it up, I mean, it's directly on the cookie and the entire cookie is going to be filled after, so you can just, you know, retrace it or redraw it or whatever, and you know, work your way around whatever mistakes you made. So as you guys can see, like this, when it gets decorated, you won't realize that it wasn't like one whole Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse cutter. Like you can see that it looks like it's one thing, everything is completely attached, and you know, it won't break off or anything like that. So you won't have to worry about the ears falling apart before it gets to the customer or before it gets to your display table, or you know, whatever it is that you're doing, before it gets to your family if you're trying this at home for just your family and friends. So yeah, that's it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you're enjoying my content. And also check out my other content if you like this kind of stuff. My red, my black, and I think my flesh tone colors were a little bit more runny because I ended up adding, no, not my flesh tone, my yeah, just the deep colors, my black and my red, they're a little bit more runny because I added so much food coloring. But you don't have to worry about the taste or whatever if you're using gel or if you're using tasteless food coloring, which is what I did. So yeah, I also made sure that my cookies were pretty thick so you don't feel like you're eating like 90% frosting, not frosting, 90% icing and no cookie. So yeah, I think I'm gonna finish talking for now though, so you guys can enjoy my decorating. If I see the need to explain anything, then I'll just pop right in. I'm using the same technique that I used in the first one, where I'm adding the polka dot before it dries so that it like settles and it's like one flat pattern. Yeah. Oh, I guess I'm not leaving quite yet. For these cookies, like they have different like elements and whatever, and I didn't want everything to like flood into each other. And so as you can see, like I did the face part that is like the skin tone colored part. I did that part first and I allowed it to dry. It wasn't like completely dry, but it had the skin over it, and so I could put a color at the side without it like, you know, merging and becoming one, looking kind of like an ombre kind of thing. Same thing with this one, I'm doing layers, and so when I add the white and I add the yellow, it doesn't mix in. Same thing that I did here. So I added the 4, which is going to be in the middle first, so that my colors don't like pool together and whatever. And now I'm tracing around. The middle part was the hardest part to trace around. You'll realize that on one of these, like it wasn't as neat as I wanted it to be, but it was good enough to work for what I wanted these cookies for. But yeah, I guess if you add like less what's this thing called, icing, royal icing in the middle, then like it won't be that overpowering or anything like that. So yeah, back to my dehydrator, which is right on the side right there. Now I'm adding like an outline thingy to the bows, which is completely optional, or you can do it using black or white, or you know, just make these cookies your own, whatever floats your boat. But I'm using about the same pink that I used as the base color. As you guys can see, after it dried, like the white was completely like flush with the white. The white was completely flushed with the pink. I think I'm sleepy. These ones, I tried 2 different ways to draw the Mickey Mouse. As you can see, one worked better than the other. I tried to fix that one, but yeah. My base coat was also dry for this one, so I was able to like write on it. I was trying to be like gentle just in case it wasn't like fully dried, so you know I wouldn't poke through my icing layer. But yeah, I was really proud of my Mickey Mouse face. I think this was my first time doing something like this with so many layers and actually like drawing on using frosting. Like I've drawn on cakes and cookies before, but like not on this level. So I was really proud of the outcome. I really hope that you guys give this a try though. And of course, you know the gist by now. Send me pictures on all my socials so that I can, you know, repost and feel like I helped somebody. For this, I needed an outline for the eyes, but I didn't want to use like frosting for it to have like a build up or whatever. So I just used my edible markers. If you don't have that, you can just like paint it on using a brush and food coloring. Had too much white in my pupils, so I just took out some before it dried and before I added the iris. So that's the final thing. I hope you guys like this video. If you do, then let me know down below by liking my video and leaving a comment. You can check out my other 2 videos that are on the screen right now. Yes, please click one of them. Give me some views, likes, and support. I will see you guys next week in my next video. Until then, stay golden.